friends. It is a semi-warm day today, actually, which is quite unusual and nice. But today we have a good plan. I was going to head down to CN Tower and see how the beauty's doing and see where it goes. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go have some fun, go check out some of my favorite areas of the city, and hopefully have a good time in the process. So let's go for a little walk, shall we? Hey Kevin, hey Timmy. Good to see you folks today. Good morning, Juanita. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Hello, Gabriella. Alexander, lovely to have you again. So the plan today, let's go down to the CN Tower, possibly hit the Music Garden and then head back, but we'll see. We'll see. Kind of depends on how far it goes today. Hopefully y'all had a good night, feeling rested and excited for the day. Not working too hard, always a plus. Save the working hard for me. I need to learn how to do that, but one of these days I will crack that code. There are many different ways we could head down to the CN Tower. We could take the path, or we can go essentially do the route we're going to do, which is above ground. But good thing about Toronto is that there's many different ways to get many different places. So the more we do, the better it grows. Be great to see the CN Tower. To be fair, it is something that I don't go to very often because it's almost too much of an icon. I mean, when you think about Toronto, you think CN Tower. So I don't always love to go there and hang out around there. But it's still good to see. We can go up through the Pint, go around, check it out there. But yeah. At the very least, it is a good area to explore a little bit, see what's around, see how the area has developed over the past couple years. And also just kind of get a sense of how it kind of incorporates into the downtown of Toronto, which is always nice. So, hey Medano, good to see you, buddy. I want to clarify, I won't be going up the tower today. One of these days I'll get a way to figure out to make. One of these days I'll figure out a way to make that happen. But for today, it's just a down and around, showing off the area more so than the tower itself. But plenty of good spaces to see there or on the way there as well. Hello, Austin. Welcome to the tour. Hopefully y'all got a couple places you want to see on the way. If you do, let me know. I'll make sure to stop by and point out the options I can. That should be a good time. And I'll always be sad about the Marquee of Granby. This place, when I first moved here, was like a 3-story bar, and it was awesome. Because they had dancing pretty much on all 3 floors. Top floor was always like heavy Latin music. It was great. But then they never figured out what to do about it. Every time they reopened it, I don't know if there's construction work or they never just figured out how to make it cohere correctly. We will be having a special guest with us tomorrow. Poison Jam's going to join me for a walk. We're going to go check out a couple of his favorite places. Hopefully get some stories on his side. And go from there. So, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good time. And today's kind of just a little bit of fun, random exploration. Which is always a good thing. Hello, Andrew. Good to see you today. Keeping track, we are coming by the TMU campus. Very different than the U of T campus. TMU campus is much more downtown focused. Feels more like a downtown rather than like a whimsical Oxford-style university that's been plopped into the middle of a city. This one just feels like a city that's been plopped into the middle of a university. But for Valentine's Day, I was planning on buying flowers for my girlfriend, but my wife won't let me. You know what? That's a shame. You should just get a single flower for both of them. Then you can play I love, they love me not. Exactly once. And by the end, it'll be true. Hello, Mr. 90s. Happy Friday, Junior. You know what? You know what, my friend? We'll take it. We'll take it. Oh, we have a friend. Living his best life. I will say today isn't quite... It's nice that we've had this little bit of break from the cold. Although I will say today is colder than it's been the past couple days. But by no means terrible. We're doing okay. It's nice that we have a range now. Will it make you want to die? Not quite. That's a good sign. But still very chilly, and very white, and very snowy. This area down here is one of the primary primary thoroughfares of TMU University. Or TMU if you want to be hip and cool, like the kids say.
Which is crazy.
Normally I would go down that fare, but I'm just like, you know what? Let's go some new places today. See what else we got. TMU colors present all over here, of course. I will say it's been 10 minutes and I can still feel my fingers, so that's a good sign. Hopefully not too brutal a cold. Maybe it's one of those cold that sneaks up on you. We're gonna find out. Hi, Mayan. Good to have you today. Thank you for stopping by, and as always, welcoming. For those who are joining, appreciate the hellos, appreciate the likes. Helps to spread the word, which is always nice, so thank you for contributing in your own way. And we love having you. Our construction going on here. Ooh, Canada versus Czechia at the Olympics. Ooh. Well, I know who I'm cheering for. Wait, we're talking about hockey? I'm gonna guess it's hockey. Which might explain. You know what? Now that I remember the Olympics are on, I'm just like, maybe that's why numbers are down right now. That makes a lot of sense. Yay, it's hockey. Well, go Canada. And also, you know what? I don't have anything against Czechia, so go them too. They can have fun. They can have a good time. Man. On that note, just thinking about it, the Olympics for hockey players must be insane. Because literally, they play like a full game every day for 2 solid weeks. That's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But good for them. We're cheering for them, hoping they have a good time. And you know, should they win, that would also be nice. I didn't hear how Canada versus America did, but I'm sure someone will let me know eventually. If it's important, of course. Now, apparently they're going to be installing another 10-meter high light billboard in the middle of Young Dundas Square. They say Sankofa Square, but if you look at the comments on Facebook, which I made the mistake of looking at, everyone's just like, you mean Young Dundas Square? I'm just like, no one cares at the fact, like, you're going to take an increasingly ugly square and just continue to make it uglier. I don't get it. I don't get it. But apparently this, instead of just being the Uniqlo logo, will be a giant screen. I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like there's enough lights here now. Do we need more? No, again, curmudgeon. If anyone is cheering for any particular Olympic, well, obviously we're all cheering for Canada, I guess. By default you must. But if there's any particular sports that people enjoy at the Winter Olympics, let me know. I'd be curious to find out what people actually watch. I guess is the right word. Hopefully folks are having a good day out there. I'll say right now, Toronto is at least fairly quiet, fairly relaxed. Nothing too crazy happening, which is always good. Hopefully y'all are enjoying it. If anyone else is getting like the nice break in weather, please let me know. I think it's always a good sign. But got some options here for sure. They still doing construction over here? They're still doing construction. But we do have Massey Hall over here, which is the lovely little theater. One day I'll be able to actually go down and explore it again, but until then we must avoid. Hello, Marcus. Good to see you today, dear. We're having quiet, leisurely day. No set plans. I was thinking go check out the CN Tower, get some beautiful views, circle Rogers Center / Skydome, come back around. Day isn't terribly cold, which is Friday. Do a scary walk. I mean, I'm actually going to be having a walk with Poison Jam. So I'm just like, if that's not terrifying, I couldn't tell you what is. Gonna see how we do on the road together. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time. Good to see you as well. I've been listening to a lot of Felicia My System, which is always nice. Apparently they released Heat 3 of Melody Festivalin, so we'll see how they're sounding when I get back home. See, that's really the only Olympics I care about right now. Although that's still like, I don't know. I wish Eurovision had more fun and joy in it right now, because the cloud around it is thick, which is always annoying. I just wish you could enjoy things again, you know? Just have things people can enjoy. But you have good taste. Of course I do. You've seen me. This doesn't happen by accident. Listen to Heat 3, it was meh. Oh no. Is that the one Alexa's in? Because she's probably the one that I'm most curious to hear from. So I'm just like, how does K-pop translate to Sweden? You know? This is for Felicia to win. I mean, it's possible. Car's coming. Here's the thing, a couple of years ago, I'm just like, is there any chance that Cornelia would have won? Probably not. But she did. Hello, Harjot. Good to see you, buddy. No, Alexa. Well, good to know at least. What a weird place to have an all crossing. It just kind of feels like a weird bunch of them at there this year. But also it's just, you know, we'll see how things go from here. Oh, I also don't realize how close Valentine's Day is. I'm just like, oh, well, I guess I should probably figure out something to do there. But I won't. Because why bother? Oh. If I was keeping track, it is... The wind is kind of what's making it cold. So in spaces where there's no wind, it's pretty good. In spaces where there is wind, not the best. Not the best. But I figure we're going to head down, check out, and show off a little bit of the Hockey Hall of Fame. From the outside, of course, because why go in? Well, apparently it is really good, but as someone who doesn't have much interest in the sport as a whole, I'm not racing towards it. But one day I'll check it out, and I hope to be pleasantly surprised. One thing I will say is Toronto has no shortage of museums. Apart from like ROM and AGO, which are the big ones, Castelloma as well, I guess. Like just the niche museums we have. It's kind of incredible that we have so many in such a dense space. But it's apple juice time. Never a bad choice. Apple juice or apple cider, always good. The Shoeseum is the crown jewel. About a shoe museum is actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that they had designed the entire like space like a shoebox until someone pointed it out. Just like, oh yeah, little details that are easy to miss. Kind of like a lot of the buildings in Toronto. So I'm just like, even you look at this one, it's like quintessential Art Deco inspired meets. It's almost like Art Deco meets Brutalist, which is kind of cool. But it's like a lot of the buildings down here actually have a lot of character and are super interesting, but often get overlooked just because when you're passing through the downtown core, you don't often think of the buildings as being their own attraction. It's like these ones down here. You can see how we can get away with pretending to be New York sometimes. Because a lot of these buildings lend themselves to kind of being anywhere buildings. Just kind of generic old city. But if you know Toronto, then you see them all over the place. When you're watching any kind of show or TV, you're like, burn never. Hi, HSQ. Good to see you, buddy. We're just on our way down to check out some of Toronto's most interesting things, most interesting sights, sounds, and then going back after because, you know, I can't walk forever. I can try, but after a while that would get kind of hard. That's always sad. You could literally see the man holding the pipes in a plastic bag on the grate. And just like, oh. It's a real problem. And it's one of those situations just like the best way to there's no proper way to figure out how to help in situations like that. Empire Sun, I miss Toronto and butter chicken. I mean, Toronto does have excellent butter chicken. We have one place that does butter chicken roti, and it is so good. It is so tasty and delicious. Highly recommend if you ever get the chance to try it out. It is excellent. Doing more construction in Brooksby Square, of course. I'm going to go some spaces for the views specifically. We are, of course, coming up to the Toronto Hockey Hall of Fame. Beautiful building. Even just the ornamentations on the outside are gorgeous. Lovely, lovely stuff they have here. Boop. We got our boop in. By the way, if we were to travel up there, there's the Dominion Public Building, municipal stuff mostly, but then behind it, those are the CIBC towers, and they have the most beautiful little parkette on the one side that you can actually travel up and see what's in there. Highly recommend if you get the chance. Definitely check it out at some point. But here's probably the thing that Toronto is most known for. I'm, of course, talking about street parking. Yeah, I love the arguments for street parking. Just like, you know what? None of them hold water. But anyways. There's the tower. We're gonna head down the way. Head up, probably go to the Point, go over there, do the loop around Rogers Centre / Skydome at that point, and then figure out where we go from there. Question for folks: Have you been up the CN Tower? If not, why not? If so, how'd you enjoy it? I will say the best way to experience the CN Tower if you're looking to have like a time is book a dinner or a lunch up in the 360. It's the restaurant at the top of the tower. You go up there and what is going? Okay, something very strange is happening with my number. I don't know what's going on with YouTube today. But my watchers is consistently going from 30 to 50 to 10 and then like bouncing back and forth between the three numbers. So I have no idea what's happening right now, and it's very confusing. Either I'm doing bad or fine, but not great. This right over here is Union Station. If you're coming into Toronto by train or by bus, it's likely through there. Also, if you're leaving Toronto by train or by bus, also likely through here. Most Niagara connections are from here, unless you're doing a specific tour out. If you're taking the GO line, you're going through here. If you're doing the Ontario Northland, you're going through here. So, Also, just as a whole, Union Station is lovely. As a note for people, if you've never visited Toronto in the winter, unless you're like a fan of the season, you're not missing much, and this winter has been very unusual overall. So, hello Robert, good to see you today. But yes, overall, quite the unusual season for us here. Hopefully yours are more relaxed and possibly even slightly nicer. I liked winter just fine when I lived in a rural community. Cities, not so much. There is something weird about being in a city that makes a winter more intense. And I don't just mean in the kind of sense like, yes, we have bigger buildings, so it funnels all of the wind into tunnels, therefore making it colder. Also, just like the sheer amount of people in a space can make things a little bit trickier to navigate, for sure. But hey, we get there. What do you find? Sort of. Who's the icon today? Oh, mostly just this. 'Tis a classic. It is probably the reason why most people... The one thing that everyone kind of knows most about Toronto, I'd say, is the CN Tower. But in terms of, like, is it a must-do or see destination? I wouldn't say so. The restaurant can be nice. I haven't not enjoyed the time where I went up there and done that. But also apparently it's taken a nosedive in the past couple of years. So who knows? The time I do remember going up there, it was quite affordable. And you get to like explore the observation decks after. So that was nice. But... oh. Just disappearing behind the building. Oh no, she's shy. Well, I think we can all agree. CN Tower, most likely a he, him. I could actually do winter activities like snowmobiling when I lived in rural Newfoundland. You know what? That's a good point. Very phallic. True. But then again, in French, the term for vagina is la vagine. So that doesn't necessarily mean much. You know? Walking through the Union Station underpass that connects Front Street to Queen's Quay. All the stuff down south. La Virgin. Yes, Baby Grinch. In French, vagina translates to le vagine, which is a masculine term, like a masculine phrase, which is just probably one of the biggest ironies. Well-known linguistic confusion. A cunning linguist confusion, if you will. Conversely, moustache is feminine. La moustache, that is correct. That was the trade-off, I suppose. But both are options, of course. Hello, Otterly. Good to see you today. Hopefully y'all are having a good day out there. Oh, over here is the Scotiabank Arena, formerly the Air Canada Centre. I did have someone ask me, it's just like, why do people care about the name Skydome being changed, but not the name of the Air Canada Centre? And my answer to that is one corporation naming another corporate headquarters, like naming another corporate arena. You're not going to get much pushback because no one really cares who owns it. Skydome at least implies that it had some semblance of not having ownership, although it clearly did, obviously. But like calling it the Rogers Center just makes it the Rogers building, like it belongs to them. And even if it does, like, it's just kind of erasing that part of history where something belongs to something other than a corporation, even though it, of course, didn't. Doubly confusing now that there's a Rogers Stadium as well, right? They should have just called, like, here's the thing, had they just called it the Rogers Skydome, it would have been fine. People would have been like, sure, whatever. It's still the Skydome. And now Rogers has kind of associated. To try to like erase that part is just kind of stupid, in my opinion. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a person who lives here. Hello, Arnold. Good to see you this morning. Not much snow there. Definitely not anymore, which is kind of nice. Has everyone ever sniped you during one of your lives? Like someone watching your stream and coming to your exact location in real life? Funny enough, that actually happened this week. On Tuesday, when I was walking through Exhibition Place with Randy, we were sniped by green nighttails. And I've been sniped by a few people. Vasily sniped me one day. Yoshi's sniped me a few times. Yoshi's a GTA Explorer. Liam sniped me and Eddie one time. Me and Eddie made plans while I was streaming, and we made plans so I could kind of adjust and walk over and greet him. But by the way, this is probably like one of the better views of the CN Tower, because like from this point on, the CN Tower just kind of becomes almost too big to photograph properly. This is kind of one of the last angles where you actually get the impact of it, which is nice. But yeah. On the one hand, we stayed at the hotel coming up on the corner. Oh, no way. Was that the La Germaine? That's a nice place. But, hey, Donkey. Good to see you, buddy. We're currently just making our way by. I'll always remember when Ripley's Aquarium was being created. Delta Hotel is pretty good too. Good amount. Oh, good to know. Katie's losing cable connection. Steam Whistle Brewery for lunch. Oh, one of these days. One of these days I'll get there. I would actually like to go there, do their tour, and then have, like, be able to essentially talk about their beer with people and be like, this is good. Tired going back and forth in West Park and did not get my prosthetic arm yet. Oh, interesting. I guess you're just waiting for someone to give you a hand. Sorry, the joke was right there. I had to make it. You've probably heard it a bunch, but okay. Over here, by the way, Metro Toronto Convention Center. One of the biggest convention centers in the city. For Fan Expo, this place fills up every year. And I have to say, I used to love Fan Expo so much. But then, just with everything, like the past couple of years I went, it was just too crowded and too loud. And can you show the Delta Hotel, please? Of course. So if you go here, the Metro Toronto Convention Center, you can see the Skywalk right over there, which connects to the path so you can go through. And then the Delta, very nice concourse down at the bottom. And then as you go up, you can potentially see where Baby Grinch stayed. And then of course the CN Tower reflection present right there as well. Down on the left, you will see the Train Museum, Steam Whistle Brewery, and then Rec Room if you like arcades. Definitely a good place that you can go to. It's free, covered by OHIP. I mean, that's great. We have the Aquarium Canada here, which I remember when they opened, which is nice. Oh, thanks, Grinch. Appreciate you muchly. You've actually been a big help of the channel, so I really appreciate that. Thank you for all your support. It means a great deal. Oh. All right. I do know they do have deals now that you can essentially go up the CN Tower and come down the aquarium. But just to kind of give you guys a sense of the scale, it really doesn't translate on screen. It can be really hard to see exactly how far up a tower goes. And then they have the Connect sculpture out here. I at least assume that's what it is. I don't think it's like, it doesn't seem like it's measurement tools of any kind. It looks like it's just ornamental, but I don't know. I've never like fully grasped what they were going for with that particular one. But over here is the Rogers Sky Dome. Always happy to know people's opinions on which name they prefer. A lot of name changes that seem to happen in Toronto that don't entirely stick. Like, some name changes stick right away. Like, everyone's already calling Dundas Station Timu Station now. But that's mostly because it just sounds like Timu and it's silly, so people like being silly. But Rogers Center will always be Sky Dome to me and many other people. St. Kafka Square will always be Dundas Square to many of us as well. Or even if they changed the name or gave people... The issue with St. Kafka is that it was kind of forced through, and they made that like an objective, no one can say anything about this or you're racist, which doesn't fly with a lot of people. Like, if you're going to change a public space, it should be brought to a public vote. You can't just name something willy-nilly. Who is Rogers? Rogers is primarily a telecom company here. So kind of like Sprint or T-Mobile in the States. But his name was Ted Rogers. He was the one who started it. I don't know if he was a good or bad person, but I know the name, so probably a bad person. But, you know, it is at least a place where people were. Yeah, this is the man here. This is a statue of Ted Rogers. A deserved statue? Who knows? Again, probably not. But you know what? He owned the company, so we'll give it to him. Died in 2008. So. Our venue in Kingston is now called Slush Puppy Place. No further comment. Slush Puppy Place? Really? What an odd choice. Is Slush Puppy big enough to do that? I mean, I guess so, but still. If we were to turn down here, by the way, this takes us right to the lake. You can kind of see the island very narrowly through the trees over there. But our T-Mobile is now called Odito. And they recited a huge data breach recently, which was made public today. Not sure if my personal... Oh, gosh. I don't even know if I'm talking to you, Marcus. What do we do? Yeah, kind of what Discord's doing right now, where they're trying to be like, oh, we need to verify faces. I just like, that sounds like a terrible idea. Forgot to boop. I didn't boop. I already did my boop. I did it at the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, I could do more boops, but the Ted Rogers statue specifically is too high. I would be booping his no place. And frankly, I don't think that would fly. So, you know. Take your victories where you can. 6.2 million people affected at least. Goodness gracious. That's more people than watch my stream on a regular basis. That's crazy. When do the Olympics go till? Are they over the 25th or 24th? Or at all? I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna call it. One day, I can only hope 1 million people tune into a stream that I'm doing. Because that would be cool. That would be very cool. But in the meantime, I have a bunch of people that I like, which makes everything better. So silly question. When does winter actually end? I feel like spring is missing. I don't think winter does ever end here. We're kind of just stuck in a perpetual... Even when it's summer, it's still winter. No, officially it ends on the 21st. Is like the quote-unquote last day of winter, first day of spring. But really, it just kind of goes... Winter is one of those seasons that just kind of keeps bouncing back in Canada. It's almost like our seasons have shifted. So like, I would say July through September, early October is now our summer. And as such, everything's kind of shifted a month behind. So really our spring, quote unquote, will probably start around April. And then from then, May will be more... Can you get on a class action suit for that? For winter? No, I don't think so. Oh, what a pleasant space. Third base. I'm glad that has no double entendre. Oh, unless you're talking about the name change of of the Sky Dome or the Sankofa Square or whatever. I don't think so, but spring and fall feel unusually short in Ontario. It warms and cools pretty rapidly. Yeah, if you look back at my videos, I was at the island like towards the end of October. And then like the next week it was snowing. It's kind of insane how fast that transition happened. And then winter just hasn't left since then, so I don't know. I'm glad I'm going places, but unfortunately those places aren't too much help right now. But we get there. Things happen sometimes, sort of. I'm glad I'm so articulate about these things. What I am glad about today is I wore long johns. Long johns make every walk nicer. Aw. This Blue Jays is great. I feel sorry for people who dislike winter. I will say, as a Canadian, I don't dislike winter. Winter is a part of my heritage. There's snow in my veins. It could not last as long, though. That would be nice. It gets to the point where it just kind of grates on you. Because even if I'm walking all the time, which I do every day, I'm always just like, you know what? I would like for this not to be winter anymore. If only because it's easier to walk in shoes that aren't boots. You know, it's the little things. Not sure why, but I love cold weather. Snow, ice makes it so much easier to enjoy this season. I agree with you to an extent. It's just the lack of anything else. The lack of sunshine. It makes it tricky and difficult. Just for perspective, this is the other side of the tower. Date breach class action suit. Oh, a data breach. Yeah, they must have something there. I'm more of a summer person. My skin can't handle the cold. It's true. I had a friend in North Bay, and her skin would literally like welt up into hives when she got cold. And I'm just like, you live at North Bay. You're in for a bad time. Though our winters are more like an extended fall these days. When I was living in Sweden, we had proper winters like Toronto. Yeah. To be fair, again, this is like highly unusual for us. We haven't had a winter like this in a long time. It has been a significant amount of time since we've had a winter with this much snow and this much consistent cold. So like, it's been fairly brutal, and a lot of Torontonians are taking it very, very hard. But overall, it's not the worst. Skin feels better in winter. Well, your skin is like milk, so presumably it just absorbs the cold and says happy me. But yeah, normally, like, our winters the past couple of years have been exceptionally mild. This has been it's been an aggressively brutal winter. At least in winter. You can dress warm enough. Sometimes you can never dress to be cool enough. That's true. Especially, like, all it takes is one item of your clothing to be polyester. You're done. You're just gonna be soup before long. My skin is a mess. Oh, I'm sure your skin's fine. But also, you know your skin better than anyone, so I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about my ass. So you're basically built for Canada, and I'm built for the Sahara. Trade skin with me for 3 months. I've never actually noticed this before, but this is the Soho, which is a hotel and residences. And you just look above, and just like, what an odd little sign on that little hoop around. That's just unusual. Probably, I've always loved colder countries. That's one thing I do. Like, Poison Jam made a good point in that in Toronto, there's a lot of chill happening. And it just kind of means, but there's not a lot to do in the city when it gets cold. Especially if you're not one wanting to spend money right now. Which most people aren't, let's be fair. But Swedes often ask me, why did you move to Sweden? It's so cold and dark. And just like, but I love winters. To be fair, if you like cold and dark places, I imagine Sweden would be high on that list. And also, let's be honest, great music. Oh, speaking of, And Juliet, the Max Martin musical, being advertised on the signs over there. Speaking of Swedish music. Yeah, how could anyone like winter? That doesn't seem normal. Not a fan of the Darkness, but I can handle it. Just decorate a bit more. You know what? The Darkness was a great band. I enjoyed them. I mean, sure, they only had like 2 hits, but great band. Highly recommend. Lots of fun. Turns out I did believe in a thing called love. Max Martin musical? Yes, you are correct. So it pretty much has like every pop song from the 90s, like from late 90s to 2000s. Oh, coming up the CBC building. Oh, that's a good question for people. What's your favorite season? You have at least 6 options. So, in Denmark, they have a word called hygge, which means to get cozy during dark days, like lighting candles, having warm blankets, and make the best out of it. I like that word. Just to kind of get another angle of the girl. You know what I might start doing? I might start referring to the CN Tower as a girl, just to piss off people. Because I feel like anyone who cares about the fictional gender of an inanimate building should probably have their head examined. So from now on, the CN Tower is a woman. No reason other than that. Which one is colder overall, Canada or Denmark? Well, we have to remember, Denmark includes Greenland, which objectively would be colder than, well, then again, Canada is also Canada. Hard to say. I'm going to say they're both equally cold. Hello, Groovester. Road looks like no melts. I'm like, oh. Hold on, Katie did the thing. Katie, there we go. Katie is the CN Tower's woman for sure. See, I'm gonna start that just to kind of like annoy people. Because I know there are people who will be like, gender is a construct. And I'm just like, so is the building. Let's be honest, CN Tower gives solid they them energy. All right, I'm gonna give the mic one more chance to not misbehave. And if it does, well, then I have to do the thing. Copenhagen is on a much higher latitude than Toronto, has a much more mild climate due to the warm Gulf Stream. That is true. Coming up and around some interesting buildings. This one I always like to point out, just because of the way that it actually like juts out into the road. I don't know how they did it, but it's just an interesting setup for stuff. I've heard it doesn't snow at all in Vancouver, only rarely. Is that true? That is true. Vancouver is a much, much greener and more temperate environment than Toronto. To quite the extreme, actually. By the way, for those who don't know who I am, which I assume is no one at this point, but hello, my name is Matti. I am a tour guide in Toronto, Ontario. If you or somebody you know is coming to the city, why not gift them with a unique experience by offering them a customizable walking tour through the city? I do tours tailored to your interests, so you can book my services below in the TripAdvisor, links to TripAdvisor and VIATOR in that description below. In addition to that, if you or someone you know is interested, why not recommend the channel to them? If you like the video, that will encourage you to recommend it to other people. And finally, if you get the chance, why not subscribe? I do this every day and I'd love to bring you back along. So feel free to come back and I'd love to have you. When I lived in Vancouver, it rained all day. That's the trade-off. It's wet, but it's.
Remember the
Well, I mean, even it holds true in like Europe as well, because west coast of Europe is much more warm and cozy than, you know, Siberia and Russia. You often see snowy mountains in a relatively high elevation. Yeah. I found out that it does not rain in LA when it's right by the ocean. That is true. I wonder if it's because LA is kind of just on the mountains. Like, if I'm not mistaken, LA is kind of just on the mountains already, right? But couldn't say for sure. The rains in the city and snow in the mountains sounds like two different climates in one place. Yeah, it is. To be fair, you're not wrong. I think that mostly depends on elevation. Sorry, I love Canada. Oh, Canada loves you too. When I was in San Francisco during July, I expected high temperatures, and I thought California was warm. It was cold. Interesting. since I was a young boy. It was my first flight ever. New York, USA, and Madrid, Spain are basically the same latitude. It is an interesting thing how different the climates can be, just based off of where it's positioned alongside other parts of the geography. That's one thing that's interesting about geography that often gets overlooked. Is like it can impact everything from socioeconomic status to like just about everything. Just about everything. Madrid is one of the hottest cities in Europe. I think Sevilla is number one. By the way, that big blue building coming up ahead, that's the AGO. All of that is most of the expansion for the new buildings that they're probably built as part of that. I've been to Seville. Ooh. That's certainly exciting. Let's see. Oh, I've never been into this store. But I've always admired their exterior because I'm just like, what a cool font. Madrid is the gay capital of Europe, sort of. Interesting. Well, I know it's like one of the fashion capitals of the world, so I guess that would make sense. I went to Spain for an academic conference. Most folks just chilled on the beach after it concluded. I rented a car, went on a road trip to Gibraltar and Seville. That would be so, oh my, I would love to see Gibraltar. Like, what a cool like, well, you know about Gibraltar. Hello, Arnold. Good to see you today. The real question for me is how people deal with cars in extreme cold. Do you need to prep them the night before, use tonight's antifreeze, or just be extra careful while driving? Yes to all of the above. Often your cars will have a plug that you can plug in overnight so that the engine doesn't freeze in the morning. Other things like, well, if you have an electric car, you're in trouble because it just won't last as long in the cold, unfortunately. But gay friend studying in Madrid. He asked me to come visit him there. And on my list is I thought it was a boring. Actually, it's an amazing city. I went there again a few years ago. Oh, that's super cool. Flying in Europe is quite cheap, so it's easy to get to Spain. That's true. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at there's an opportunity that's come up that I might be able to do where I would essentially be going to Spain. Although it would be 2 weeks of me not being able to stream. But I don't know about that, unfortunately. But when I got to do it, when I got to look at it, the tickets back would have been about $800 to $900. I'm just like, that's too much right now. I don't think I could do that. That's okay, Sam. It's good to see you, buddy. Yeah, this is the OCAD building. One of Toronto's more controversial buildings, for sure. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think it's interesting. What's that blue building? Well, this over here is it's the back of the AGO, the Art Gallery of Ontario. So that features one of the world's largest collection of Canadian art, anywhere maybe only rivaled by the National Gallery in Ottawa, but I'm pretty sure this one's bigger. Especially once they had that expansion put in. I'm sure it'll grow even more in size, so. Is that where the Smurfs live? I mean, some Smurfs maybe. Smurf, yeah. But you know what we are in? I think we're in good boop territory. I've always loved the OCAD building structure. You know what? Love it or hate it, it's absolutely distinctive. And to be fair, it does exactly what you want it to. It stands out. Oh. You loon. Boop. It's a double boop day. For those who don't know, over here there is essentially like a food courty mall called The Grange, and in there they have probably one of the best Japanese restaurants I've ever been to. It was delicious, it was delightful, and it was mildly inexpensive. So it's just like, you know what? Pretty good. So I recommend it. I know you don't need it, but just for a laugh, get a second-hand mobility scooter and rock that ride. Oh, Sam, I love how you think I have money for things. At this point, I'm starting to feel flattered by it. One day I will. OCAD had only about 4K students. That's like 2 high schools. It is a fairly small. It's a fairly small campus overall, but I will say at least it's interesting. It's an interesting building, and it doesn't need a ton of space when the classes are, you know, a little more small, a little more intimate, shall we say. So I do think certain days I might just have like a regular route that I walk, and every time I do it I'll try to add a couple more facts to the list. So it's actually like people would be coming along with me for a specific tour that I can do every week. So I don't know if that's something that interested people, but yeah. We were just talking about Dawson's Creek the other day, now he's passed away, right? That one floored me. I'm just like, wow, James Vanderbeek was really young. He was 48 years old. And just like, I will say he is absolutely an actor that I feel has been underappreciated for many years, but made an indelible cultural impact in many ways. So, yeah. How about walking a bit in one of the far suburbs? I would. Practically speaking, the issue I have there is it's definitely certainly more on my side. It's that I essentially have to spend money to go different places, and I just don't quite have the ability to do that often. So I will get there, and when I do, things become much easier. But in the meantime, I kind of have to be very smart and very specific about where I go. But that being said, I do want to start going more places, especially on the GO train. But my hope is to also start doing more things about, like, specifically what makes Toronto special. Let's go to some new coffee shops. Let's see what they have. Let's see how the things are. What are the good items that we can look at? You know? Do you have a bike? I do not have a bike, I'm afraid. Just my legs. My legs do a lot of heavy lifting. I walk a lot. I save so much money biking around. I believe that. I'm the same way with walking. That's kind of why I started this, was because I was just like, you know what? I walk everywhere all the time, and right now I'm literally just stuck at home waiting for people to buy tours for me. Why don't I get out there and just keep exploring the city and show off different things? And if I can get other people to love the city as much as I love the city, I consider that a huge win. So it's always hit or miss whether it's cool to record or stream inside businesses. That's kind of it. Is I'm just like, I'm going to start doing things to kind of specifically, like, my recommendations in terms of, like, coffee shops I know are good. But my hope is actually to do a couple of them in the next couple days. So if you want to hit up a couple, like, breweries with me afterwards, or if you want to hit up a couple coffee shops with me too, Rob, or Poison, like, happy to do it. I think that you'd be a fun guest with me. James Vanderbeek heard the lead singer of Three Doors Down, who was 47. Right? It's like a lot of people who've been really young that, and just like, oh, these are like my childhood idols now are dying. That's fun. Yeah, bud. Oh, I love how game for things you are. Walter and Maria Schroeder. Pixie and I went stream from Stormcrow once and they were cool with it. See, that I believe too. I would absolutely do a stream from Stormcrow. Actually, I think I was supposed to at one point. Oh my god, hi princess. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Welcome, my love. How is the weather? It is fairly cold, but not terribly cold. It's pretty tolerable overall, I will say that. Arnold, thank you very much, my friend. Wonderful to have you in the chat as ever. I really appreciate the support that you do. It's one of the few things that keeps me living. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just want you to know specifically how much it means to me. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And hopefully you're having a great day and you're staying warm. Canadian school incident on the UK. Yeah. I've only heard about that a little bit. There's a lot of rumors spreading right now. So I'm waiting until they actually release information before, like, obviously anything happens. But all I can say is I'm just like, ugh. As like an overwhelming thought and sentiment, just fuck guns. Just all of them. Just every single one of them. Just no. You know? We don't need these anymore in society. Again, maybe a controversial thought, but I know lots of people love hunting, and just like, I think you should be able to go out and hunt. But, you know, not people. Buffering. Oh no. Oh crap. Well, hopefully it's back now. I mean, maybe that was YouTube trying to censor me, being like, no, don't talk about weapons. But no. Mount Sinai, that's where I go. Shout out to all my doctors. You know what? Doctors work so friggin' hard, man. As far as I'm concerned, they deserve... Well, good doctors deserve as much as they can. People who just want to become a doctor to be, like, rich, it's like, well, maybe you didn't go into this for the right reason. But hopefully you worked hard to get there, and hopefully you're treating things well. That's pretty much it. I'm just like, the US was giving us such a hard time over fictional fentanyl that was coming into their country when most of it was not coming from Canada. Does that mean we get to treat you the same way? Oh, Mike Carney, I can appreciate a man who's trying to distance ourselves from America right now. A lot of people, doctors in Quebec, are leaving for Ontario because the government set a quota how many patients they should serve. Oh. That's interesting. Do you consider that a good or bad thing, I wonder? Because I don't know if I have an opinion on that. And I'd be curious to know from someone who has more of one. Oh, guys, look, it's the Whitney Building. Canada just scored men's hockey, now 3-0 versus Czechia. Nice. Get checked, friends. Here's the thing. I feel like so many more people are going to be cheering for Canada's hockey team now that... So many more people are going to be cheering for Canada's hockey team now that heated rivalry exists. Like, that was just perfect timing on so many levels. How many elevators do you think skyscrapers have? Enough. Actually, that's a lie. They never have enough. I think it's mandated to have 2 elevators per 50... Was it 25 floors? I don't know. I know my building is about, like, 10 stories tall. And that's kind of... Most Toronto apartment-style residences are between 10 to 20 stories tall, and they're mandated to have at least 2 elevators. But I also know, like, First Canadian Place has, I think, 16 elevators, but half of those only service the top floors and half of those service the bottom half. So, my guess would be it would have to depend on how many people are moving through a space. But also, I've seen some places that only have, like, 1 elevator. So, who knows? Also, I don't know... Oh. I was just like, why are the flags at half-mast? And then I thought about it for 2 seconds. I'm just like, I know why the flags are half-mast. We were literally just talking about it. Yeah, that's not ideal. I'm pretty sure we can see each other from our respective balconies. Well, don't look at... Well... Probably, actually. Let's be fair. Probably. We're north-facing, though, so... Elevators are bipolar, always having their ups and downs. Oh, there she is. Praying for British Columbia, Canada. Yeah, I think we all are. That's just, like, just hearing what happened is just awful. But oh, it's rare when it happens, but anytime it does, it's one of those situations where you just kind of think to yourself, just like, how could this happen? It doesn't. One of those things that doesn't make sense. The sheer randomness of life can be absolutely brutal. Parents' worst nightmare, mental instability is rampant. Well, there is a bit of a mental health crisis going on right now. And there's no easy way. There's not even an easy way to talk about it either. Because, I don't know. I know that some people take comfort in the fact it's just like, oh, they're in heaven now. But I'm just like, but they shouldn't, there shouldn't be comfort there. Like, it should be uncomfortable. These people's lives have been shattered. And that should make you feel uncomfortable. It should make you feel awful, and it should incite you to action. So, as nice as it is to say, like, thoughts and prayers and stuff, I'm just like, no. Action and policies. That is how we tackle these situations. But obviously feel awful for the families and parents involved. Because no one should have to deal with that. No one. Ever. Period. Point blank. No one deserves that. Despite what happened, that's by America, then that's America. Despite what happened, times that by 90, then that's America. And here's the thing, that's just as awful. And, like, again, this is something that should never happen. Point blank, period. I wouldn't wish this on Trump. I mean, there's not, like, I don't care, like, about, like, your personal ideals or anything like that. People don't deserve to die in such a malicious and awful way. Point blank, period. Anyway, well, this is getting hard. We're gonna move on. As soon as I said, like, literally right before that, saying, she's like, we need to live in the uncomfort, but also being like, you know, we can still look to today to make things better. That's the thing. Is it just like, this happened? How do you try to make sure it never happens again? How did it end up helping in Canada with such strict pew-pew laws? To be fair, they probably got the weapon from America, but I don't know. I don't have any details. I don't know what happened. I also don't care to find out anything about the incident. I feel like there can be a morbid fascination that kicks in when people are just like, this terrible thing happened. Well, let's find out who did it. And, like, I don't think these people deserve to be remembered. I don't think they deserve to be recognized. I think we need to remember the victims and maybe only refer to the instigator as the murderer of all of the people they killed. Like, some people don't deserve respect, even in death. But again, it's a harsh, heavy topic that's hard to talk about for many people for many reasons. And here, perhaps dance for the old folks in the nursing homes. See, I tried that once, but it got weird when they started slipping dollar bills. Next time I won't wear a thong. That's my lesson. Do you think Toronto needs more housing or jobs? Yes. Toronto desperately needs both. As someone who has been trying to find a job in Toronto and like regular employment for over a year, I have been hunting for a regular job. I haven't had a regular job where I was getting paid consistently since March 2024? No. December 2024. Because that's when I left out on the street to work. Yeah. So I haven't had a regular job since December 2024. The past year I've been getting by entirely on A, what I've made from fringe shows, and B, what I've done in terms of my own ability to find work, find odd jobs, and essentially my tour guiding. So that has been my main cause of action and my main source of income. I would love to have a regular job, but I have applied for several hundred over the course. Actually, at this point, it's probably several thousand, let's be fair. But like, it's hard out there. And right now, unless you're like exactly what they need, and they specifically lowball you something that you're willing to tolerate, like you're not gonna do great, you know. But there are issues all over the place. It just depends on what you want to put up with sometimes. That's why I can't have a kid depend on me. Job security is an all-time low and things are unaffordable. Things are so unaffordable right now. I kind of joke about it with my friends when just like I go to the bar with them for trivia and like I'll order a Coke and that'll be $5. And just like, well, life is awful. You can import 1 billion workers and housing will still need more housing and more jobs. Not to mention, you will not be helping the world if you import 1 billion people. Right? Controlling immigration it can be a touchy subject for sure. But here's the thing, a lot of people who are immigrating into places usually are the ones who are working jobs that no one else wants or can do. So, I'm not saying everyone does, but like, immigration can be a massive advantage, but like, if you don't have space to put everybody, it's detrimental to everyone involved. So, yeah, a lot of hard things right now. It is a hard time to just be alive. And when you think about, like, no one right now has it easy except for, like, maybe 10 people who are billionaires. Everyone else right now, not doing too great. But at the same time, all you can do is live your life one day at a time and hope the world doesn't collapse around you. Hey, what are the chances of that happening? Like, what? 40%? We're fine. We're fine. We'll be fine. Things are fine. Also been looking since March last year. Was laid off, so living off EI. See, I'm gonna let you guys in on something. I applied for EI and I didn't get it because I'm a tour guide, so therefore I am self-employed. So even if I only make $50 a month, which is what I've made some months, I still can't get EI because I am a self-employed person. Isn't that nice? Isn't that great? Isn't that just like the best news ever? It's gonna be harder for the next generations. It's a greedy world we live in. It really is. Again, here's the thing. I don't like to be Toronto. I don't like to air my issues in public. But also at the same time, I'm someone who will tell things to you straight, which is ironic because I'm super queer. But like, I'm gonna tell you, like, if there's issues that are going on, I don't think this should just be a channel where I promote Toronto. I want to have open and honest discussions about things that are going on and the realistic things that we do. And even consider that my YouTube or Twitch might compromise the eligibility, right? It's tricky out there. And like, yeah, even last year, because I had just started, I got my fringe, which went really well. But then after that, everything's just kind of, it's been a tough go. It's been a tough go. We're gonna get better, but it's been a tough go. They should have kept it as a hobby instead of declaring on taxes. I hope that's an issue you never have to face, my friend. I hope it's an issue you never have to face. Plant ball nachos. I mean, IKEA, if I'm actually getting curious about your food items, you're probably doing something right, not gonna lie. Doing what you love to do. I am. And here's the thing, if nothing else, I am developing a strong community. I have people who come and join me for a walk every day, which is super cool. I have a lot of really, really interesting things in my life. I get to promote a city that I love. And hopefully, on top of all of that, I get to actually survive. So, you know, we'll figure, we figure things out short, like one step at a time. But we'll see. That's awful, yet they have a question of self-employment and reporting doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's kind of like it's got some problems to it, let's be fair. I thought there was no poverty in Canada, specifically Toronto. Oh god, no, there is lots of poverty here. There's poverty everywhere. This is gonna sound cliche. If you have billionaires, somewhere else you got poverty. That's just how it works. But some people live in self-induced poverty. But some people just have an unlucky break sometimes. If you want attention, turn your jeans into assless chats for these tours. I mean, that sounds like effort. I'd have to go somewhere and find them. That's too much work. That's too much work. I wouldn't do that. Yeah. We got the pictures over here. When COVID came, the amount of homeless people skyrocketed and things have not been back to normal. Yeah. Cost of inflation's way up. Oh, but that's kind of the same everywhere, though. Like, America's hit with tent city just as much as we are in many places. So, take a page from Rubber Boots guy and wear a shirt that says, "I hate streaming" while streaming. I know exactly who you're talking about, which is hilarious. That would be funny though. Hey, what's up, Eddie? I'm planning an EU tour with UK, France, and Italy, staying in hostels and using cheap flights. That sounds awesome. Oh, I hope you're gonna have so much fun with everybody. Oh my, this was a bad idea. You feel that wind tunnel, guys? That is a sharp wind tunnel. It's coming right up my nose. I'll be flying Ryanair. Wish me luck. Oh, in that case, definitely wishing you luck on that one. Toronto has a few interesting characters. Right? Like the guy who stood at the corner of Young Dundas and always used to be like, believe! And I was just like, you know what? Good for you, buddy. It's nice to have a street preacher just like reduces diatribe down to one word. It's like, oh, you're mentally unwell, but that's okay. God made you this way. I'm from the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. Even here we have poverty among the elite techs. We always hear Canada take care of its people with strong social programs. Well, that is true. No one here is going broke because of like healthcare bills, which is I think the number one cause of poverty in America. So like different things, but yeah. IKEA monkey, High Park capybara, Believe guy, Young Dundas Spider-Man. Oh, Spooderman. Still there in our hearts. Watch Little Britain on YouTube. You will like Daffyd Thomas. He's the only gay in the village. I have seen that one before. I used to love Little Britain. I mean, to be fair, a lot of it now is probably at least a little problematic. That's like half the fun. Back when you could have comedy and have it like have actual teeth. That was silly. If you've never seen Come Fly With Me, it was their take on an airline, and that one was really funny too. But I think Little Britain is probably the one that gets referred to and watched more often. Anyone remember Toronto Batman? I do not remember Toronto Batman. Although maybe I did have a friend who would do real life cosplay. So her name was Toronto Rogue, but she actually like dyes her hair like Rogue. It was great. How about Xanta? Oh, Xanta. He became problematic, didn't he? Or maybe he was problematic the whole time. I don't know these things. I know very little about most things, actually. Except for, like, niche comments. See, I see Xanta and all I think is that old Fanta song that they used to sing for the Cola theme song. Do you mean driving around with a bat? Someone drove around with a Batmobile? I don't want that guy to know that I have a camera. Oh, 7-Eleven. Would it be unkind to keep tally of the Toronto characters you encounter? I don't think so.
They don't have a fresh one here.
I think it would only be unkind if we made fun of them for our own gain, instead of just for the regular reasons. God, what a cute little dog. Looked and sounded unstable. I was like, I've had my issues with people in white coats. I don't need to have that again. That was like a month ago, by the way. So much has happened in a month. It's over here. Play. Remember seeing the Batmobile at Import Fest one year. I encountered the Billboard Walk guy on a lot of runs. The Billboard Walk guy? What's that? I love that mural. It's a great one. And just like, don't get me wrong, I like 401 games and I like what they tried to do here. But between the two murals on the wall, this one has like a rough and this is like the Temu quality mural, and this one's like the, oh, you guys paid extra for this one. Beautiful work. Done by Adrian Hayes Productions. Hales? Might be Hales. The disrespect to Vegeta. To be fair, the Dragon Ball Z characters might be the best characters on the wall. But I'm just like, that's a rough wizard. And like, Ash especially is a little derpy. Dragon Ball's not so bad. But like, there's some choice. There's some choices. Skinny wizard. I haven't called worse. Graffiti Alley? I'm afraid not, Victoria. This is quite literally just one of the back streets of the village. So I'm currently on Sheard Street, which crosses with McGill Street. Not necessarily a well populated area, but it's got some charms to it. Some nice older houses. I think I was in Graffiti Alley, what, like 2 days ago? That was a nice walk. Always happy to get down there and see it. Check it out. I like to show off my fish. Toronto's Walkman is a guy who mostly walks Bloor and Danforth area, has a wearable sandwich board all the time, advocating against bullying. Good for him. I think bullying is something that deserves to be advocated against. The beautiful thing about snow is it keeps the streets looking sparkling clean, the city looking nice. All things considered, Toronto actually isn't Toronto's not a dirty city by any stretch of the imagination. Ooh, look at the size of those icicles. As Matt would say, that indicates bad insulation. It's like, I believe that. But in areas like this, I'm just like, this is just kind of a nice area, you know? Oh my God, look at these icicles. That is something else. That's actually just kind of dangerous at that point. Maybe do something about that, friends. Or, don't. Also an option, I suppose. Look how thick that is. That is ridiculous. Right, Poison? Right? That's a little much. So just for context for everyone, if we were to keep going straight here, this takes us right back into TMU campus, or TMU campus, if you want to be hip and young. And this area is pretty much like residences, smaller budget apartments, the like. Well, since we're on Gerrard Street, it's only fair that we highlight our national treasure. One of the most beautiful sights you'll ever see in the city, with a rich personal and interpersonal history. Coming up at the corner of Gerrard and Jarvis, you will find a very special Harvey's. I'll let you guess what it is. We've been here before, we'll be here again. But in the meantime, we're making our way over, gonna check it out.
You have a YouTube channel?
I do. It's called TOURonno. Yeah, TOURonno. Come on it sometime. Did you hear about the flight from British Airways crew that was given spiked sweets? They had to go to the hospital. The police are trying to locate the perpetrator. Given spiked sweets. What the hell? Were they drugged on a plane? That's not cool. At least do it at a rave or something. By the way, I always like to point out Crying Tiger and Sumtam Jinda because these are spaces that are Michelin star recommended. And when me and Hunter went there a couple months ago now at this point, it was relatively the same price as going out for a pub burger. I was just like, the serving sizes are pretty big, and it was really, really delicious. He said it got to all the staff. It could have been much more worse in midair. Yeah, no kidding. Good God. Could you imagine just being like in the air and suddenly going on a trip while you're going on a trip? My only question there would be like, as long as it wasn't the pilots, because goodness God, that would be terrible. Welcome to Peter Land. Not Peter Land. That's where Trump and Michael Jackson live. Well, lived. Oh, that joke was in bad taste. But also too accurate. This is Hooker Harvey's, everybody. Hooker Harvey is so named because it was a renowned location to encounter ladies and men of the evening. It is close enough to the queer village that, you know, anyone could find a salacious partner, and frequently did. So, Not so much that anymore. But still, an important part of our heritage to show off. Which is good. Just looked it up. Ingested sweets laced up to 300 milligrams of THC. That's too much. That is too much THC for a flight. They must have just slept for a day. Like, you can't take that much. I mean, theoretically, of course. But, like, you can't take that much and then not have, like... You would crash. They would just crash. The plane would fall out of the sky and they would crash. By the way, over to the right you will see Allen Gardens. Nice free gardens if you're ever interested in getting the chance to check it out. It's beautiful. They have a lot of interesting plants, many different breeds and flora, most of which not from Toronto or Canada area. Some, yes, most of it from hotter temperate climates. It serves as a really nice winter break. So if you're ever in the area and you want to check it out, when it's cold, it's a good time to go. Also, completely free to go into. Definitely check it out. Especially now that they have the turtle side reopened. You can go in and see turtles, see koi. They're not that koi, they're actually quite bold. Well, folks and friends, as always, it has been a delight to show you around the city for a couple hours today. Well, thank you for joining me. If you are in the area or would like to join us for a custom walking time, please let me know. You can book my services in the links in the description below to VIATOR. I do customized walking tours tailored to your interest, and I'd love to show you around sometime. So let me know what you're interested in, and I'll see what I can do. In addition to that, if you did enjoy this today, please like the video. That does help YouTube recommend it to other people, especially in today's day and age. It helps a lot. And finally from that, if you subscribe, I do this every day. I'd love to have you back sometime. So, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you've had a wonderful day. Keep yourself safe. And I will see you all tomorrow when I am joined at 2 p.m. with Poison Jam. So, we'll see where it goes. Until then, friends. See you soon.